Okay, I'm Kelli Burns. I'm an associate professor in the Zimmerman School of Advertising and Mass Communications, and I teach in the public relations and strategic communications tracks. So I did my undergraduate at Vanderbilt University, where I was a math major and a business minor, and then I studied also at Middle Tennessee State, and so I did a master's degree there in mass communications, and then right after my master's degree I decided that I would like to get a PhD, and so I went to the University of Florida where I studied advertising. Here at USF, I teach undergraduates in our public relations sequence, and I also teach master's level students in our strategic communications program. And I've really enjoyed working with students throughout the years. I teach a variety of different classes in both of those programs. I am originally from the Tampa Bay area, so it's been wonderful to come home and be able to give back to the community that I was raised in.
I usually feel like I don't learn a lot from an online class, but with this one that Professor Burns organized, it was just really cohesive, everything made sense. I always didn't understand PR. It's very similar to advertising, which is what I study, so she did a really good job of making all the information very applicable to me, and while it was still online, it had a lot of videos and a lot of interaction that you normally don't get from an online class.
I research in the area of social media, and that's something that I've been studying for a long time now. When I did my PhD for my dissertation, I studied online advertising, so that was really revolutionary at the time. This was around the 2000s, late 1990s and 2000s, and then ever since then I've been exploring all different kinds of social media, and something that I've been studying a lot recently is what people are talking about on Twitter and how influencers have an impact on what we talk about on Twitter and how news and other types of content spread on Twitter. I just had a book come out last year called Social Media, a Reference Handbook, and that book is an overview of social media, the history of social media, problems and controversies related to social media, all kinds of key players and their biographies. So it's a great overview for somebody who wants to learn more about social media. So the most challenging part of being a public relations student or a strategic communications student is just keeping up with the changes in the industry. So things are changing all the time. We're coming up with new ways to use, for example, social media platforms. We have new technology that we can use and implement in our fields. And so for me as a professor, just keeping up to date with all of that, as well as being able to teach students what they need to learn to be as cutting edge as they can. So we've had obviously a lot of changes in the last couple of decades, and it is funny to look back and think that there was a time where people said social media, that's not going to be a thing, that's just a fad, that's going to go away. But look at us now. I mean, our lives are totally consumed with social media. We spend so much time looking at our phones, looking at Facebook, looking at Twitter, looking at Instagram, Snapchat, spending hours and hours a day on these sites, and they are not going away anytime soon. I would say to any student looking for a job that networking is so important. You've heard that for a long time, I'm sure. Get on Twitter, start following people, liking people who are in your industry, and this can open a lot of doors for you in the field.